Hey everybody, I'm Arglefump. In this video, I'm going to show you how to beat Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem as quickly as possible. My best time is 29 minutes and 2 seconds. So if you follow all of the tricks and strategies in this video, you should be able to beat the game in under a half hour. If you've never heard of this before, it's called speedrunning. A speedrun is an attempt to beat a game from start to finish as quickly as possible. If you want to do your own speedrun for this game, I would highly recommend submitting it to one of the speedrunning websites, Speed Demos Archive or speedrun.com. Those are both great websites with lots of resources for speedrunners. So, the first thing you do in order to beat this game quickly is to set up a glitch, the CCTV puzzle glitch. So, let me get to that here. I've got a save file with the CCTV puzzle all loaded up. So I'm gonna solve the puzzle here. And you don't have to do this quickly. All you have to do is just solve the puzzle correctly. Let's see. I've got the puzzle memorized, but you'll notice it still kind of takes a while to solve this puzzle. There's a lot of moving left and right involved. That's obviously not so good for speedrunning. It's a lot faster if you you know, don't have to constantly move your mouse left and right and up and down everywhere. But this puzzle is not too bad, and I should have it solved. Here. Yes. Did it.
Let's see.
So, I solved the puzzle legitimately.
Well,
the game puts this information in its temporary memory. So, the game knows I've already solved the puzzle. So, if I load a game, or if I start a new game, the game already thinks I solved the puzzle. It knows I solved the puzzle, right? So, I don't need to solve it a second time. All I have to do is start the puzzle, and then immediately back away, and the game says, hey, you already solved the puzzle, good job. So, I managed to skip doing the entire puzzle that way. It's a glitch. And obviously, you will have to use that glitch in order to beat the game in under a half hour. So, what you want to do is start the game. You can do Amateur Sleuth Mode or Master Sleuth Mode. Amateur Sleuth Mode is easier just because of the wavelength puzzle. The wavelength puzzle is super difficult on Master Sleuth Mode, so I recommend Amateur Sleuth Mode for speedrunning. Now, whenever there's a bar at the top and bottom of the screen, that means it's a cutscene. You can press the escape button and select Skip Cutscene in order to skip it. There are 2 cutscenes at the start of the game, so you want to skip both cutscenes. You want to click on the window to open it, then turn right and click on the desk.
Judge Sewell's desk.
This starts a conversation about the desk.
That desk is
so
where he spent
you can
most
click
of
to
his
skip
time
dialogue
working
in
when
this
he wasn't in
game,
court.
like that. Just skip through what all the characters are saying. You'll be doing that an awful lot in a speedrun. There are 2 things you need to do at the desk. Number 1, get the lamp thingy here. So I recommend moving your mouse here to the bottom of the screen, just sort of at the bottom of the lamp area. That way you can double click it, and that makes this part of the desk appear. Second thing you need to do at the desk is check out this key over here on the right, bottom right area. Get the key, you back away, you open up the key. Now, it doesn't really matter what order you do those 2 things in. You could get the key first, or you could do the lamp first. It's personal preference. I prefer getting the key second. So I'm going to show you what the game normally looks like in order to explain this next glitch. What you're supposed to do is open the desk and then solve this puzzle. It's pretty simple. You just go left at the first fork and then move this to the upper left corner.
Easy.
That opens this drawer.
I found it. It's
Get a conversation about AW. Then you back away twice, go to the door, and you exit.
Nancy!
Where? Dr. Hurst?
Nancy calls for Dr. Hurst, and then Nancy gets a phone call from Deirdre Shannon. So let me demonstrate a glitch which lets you skip that phone conversation with Deirdre. When you're putting the key into the desk, the drawer on the right will open. If you double-click on the drawer while it's opening, the screen should flip upside down, allowing you to skip the phone call with Deirdre. It's gonna look like this. It's kind of tricky because you don't have much time. You kind of saw there, right? The screen went askew for a brief moment. Hopefully that means I did it correctly.
Easy.
I don't know why making the screen get all weird there with the moving drawer allows you to skip a call with Deirdre, but it does. So that's the second
Dr.
glitch
Hurst?
that I've been able to find.
Elizabeth!
Just completely skips over that phone call with Deirdre as if it never happens. So, after that, you skip the cutscene. You go outside. And you're going to go outside again, skip another cutscene. Here you just go forward, so just move your mouse in the center part of the screen and click over and over and over again. You're going to skip this cutscene with the culprit, and then you're going to take a look at these 3 pieces of evidence. You have to look at every single one of them. It doesn't really matter which order you look at them in.
Gotta be.
But Nancy talks as soon as she sees every piece of evidence.
This canister.
So find all 3 pieces of evidence and then back
Yes,
away.
Deirdre.
And then you get a phone call with Deirdre. No way to skip this phone call with Deirdre, unfortunately. So she invites Nancy to go to Salem, and we have 2 cutscenes in a row.
Well, extend.
So now we're going to have a conversation with Deirdre. What you want to do is move your mouse to the bottom of the screen in this location. That way you can click on the conversation options as soon as they appear. And it's going to look like this. Conversation option, conversation option. So I don't even have to select the conversation options or move my mouse. I just click over and over and over again. So once this conversation is done, we have another cutscene. Sometimes it takes a while for the cutscenes to load.
Tegan Perry.
So I'm going to skip through this conversation.
I almost forgot. That thing.
Now, this conversation is unlike the previous one. We have 2 different options that we can pick from here, and it makes a difference which option you pick. This conversation option, the second one, is faster. So you want to select that, because if you select the first option, you have to talk for about 3 more sentences. So Nancy will talk for 3 more sentences. You need to skip 3 sentences like this. Now, granted, it does not take very long to skip 3 lines of dialogue in this game, but every little bit helps. So if there's ever a conversation where one option is faster than the other, you want to select the faster options. But if it's a conversation like the one in the car, or the one that's coming up now, it doesn't matter. And I'll explain that in a moment. So first we skip this cutscene, and then we have this conversation with Deirdre. So this is just like the conversation in the car, in that you have to select every single conversation topic. So it doesn't matter what order you pick them in, you have to talk about all of them from start to finish.
Yeah, you don't.
So with here and in the car, I just move my mouse to the bottom option and just click like mad. That way I get through every single conversation option, because it doesn't really matter which option I pick. So now we're going to leave the house. You simply turn around and go out the front door. Ned is going to call, so you're going to click to skip through Ned's conversation and then go straight forward to Deirdre's car. So now you're going to go into town. What you need to do is take 2 steps forward, and then you're going to skip a cutscene. And then you're going to try to go around this statue. So you go right, and you don't do that. That was a mistake. My mistake, everybody. What you want to do is go forward and then left around the statue to the museum. So the navigation in this game can be kind of tricky. It's actually somewhat difficult, but if you play the game over and over and over again, you'll get used to zooming through town as quickly as possible. So here in the museum, you want to go forward and then left and then forward to talk to Tegan. Skip through this conversation. She's going to give you the tickets that are right there on the desk. Then you U-turn and you go forward and right. So Deirdre Shannon is following you throughout this state of the game. that can be kind of tricky because you're going to be turning around a lot. You don't want to click on Deirdre because if you click on Deirdre,
Well, we have the ticket.
you get a conversation, and that's obviously a time waster. So try never to talk to Deirdre Shannon. So once you get the tickets, you go forward, then you turn left, go forward again, and turn left. Use the
This
ticket
tour
on
sounds
her.
interesting. Welcome. Thank you.
You're going to turn left, and here's another spot where it's kind of tricky because you want to go forward, but going forward is pretty close to talking to this woman. So you want to don't accidentally click on the woman. That's something which I've done, which has screwed me up. So as I said, navigation's very important in this game. You just have to get good at navigating.
Oh, there, watch
So
it.
Olivia gives you
In
her
recent
tablet, and that means you need to visit all of the Raven signs. So the first one is this one right here. It's the holes one. So the sinkhole, it's very, very close to her, so that's obviously the first one you do. Next, I get the two at the museum. So one right over here, just use your tablet there. You're gonna go forward and then right, use your tablet there. Then you're gonna go right, try not to click on Deirdre there. And then you're gonna go to the graveyard. You're gonna go two forward, left, two forward, right, tablet.
Stand before the
So right, forward, forward, and then left, forward, forward. You want to use the tablet here. So there are two places you can use it on. You can use it here on the AW. That's faster.
before you stands
Or you can use it here, like this. Personal preference, I find it faster not to have to turn, but that's just me. Go forward here to the Hathorne house.
through these woods.
Not yet. There's. Come on.
So there are two places we can use this one as well. We can use it here, or if you're coming from this angle, you can use the tablet there. So you have options when it comes to tablets, to where the tablets can go. There's Deirdre's armpit just sticking out in the corner of the screen. But I find it faster, I find it fastest to do what I did there, which I just zoom forward, and then I turn right, then I turn back left and zoom all the way forward because you're going straight. That way you go straight a lot. It's just like here. It's kind of easier just to go straight. You don't really have to move your mouse. That's a lot easier than making left turns and right turns everywhere. So here you want to turn and go to the judge's office. We click. You want to move your mouse so it's sort of level with the top of the doorknob. That way you click the second from last option.
Yes.
He tells you to go see Alicia Cole. So now you immediately U-turn and see Alicia Cole. Click through this conversation. She gives you a paper clip.
Small work.
And then you turn around and just go straight to the judge's door. Use the paper clip on
Judge
the door.
Danforth.
Click through this minor conversation, and then click through that line of dialogue. This puzzle solution is the same every single time. So it's 4, 3, 5, 1, and then 2. So I recommend taking your time, because if you did what I did there, the game doesn't accept it. That is, if you go like too fast or too far up, the game doesn't accept it for whatever reason. So that's how you solve the puzzle correctly
Efficient.
and how you solve it incorrectly.
How'd you learn
So
to do
that puzzle
someday?
screwed me up too many times. I don't like it. So here you U-turn and you go inside the judge's office. You talk to the judge.
You know, did your father...
And this is another conversation where you select the last option.
Talk to you later.
Miss True. Well,
Okay.
So you don't actually talk to him about anything. You just talk to him and then close the conversation as soon as possible. That's it for day number 1. We're gonna go back to Deirdre's car. Getting to Deirdre's car is relatively simple. This is gonna give you a cutscene, so you're gonna skip the cutscene. And here you want to select the second option because that's the faster one.
You know, not you need your.
And here, you're going to turn right and talk to May. You're going to meet May for the first time. You want to select the first option twice. That way, May and Nancy become friends and she'll talk to you. You're supposed to find a lighter, but it's faster to get her to become your friend this way. That's faster than finding a lighter, so this is the recommended strategy. So here's a lot of conversations. We have to talk to her about everything. So once again, I recommend selecting the final option and just clicking over and over and over again until the conversation is finished.
I used to live in. Oh, it's called. It was. No, I mean.
And there we go. We finished talking to her. So at this point, I like to pick up the can of Rust Be Gone. You don't have to do it here. It's just personal preference. You have 3 times when you're inside this room. So at some point, you want to pick up the Rust Be Gone. I like doing it here, but hey, maybe you'll like doing it, you know, when you're talking to Tegan on the second day of the game. Doesn't really matter. So once you get the Rust Be Gone, once you finish talking to May, you talk to Deirdre.
No, right.
And then you can go back outside. You go to Nancy's car, not Nancy's car, Deirdre's car, and then you're just gonna go straight to the graveyard. So it is slightly faster if you spin around that statue. Slightly faster. It's like 1 or 2 steps faster, so it's not a huge time saver. Just figure out the navigation which works fastest for you when you're trying to speedrun this game. So you get a cutscene that you skip, and then the Hardy Boys are going to call. With this conversation, you want to select the second option that's slightly faster than the first one.
Are you kidding? Oh.
And then you just go forward over here to the Hathorne house. You have a cutscene to skip. Here you want to select the first option twice.
No.
That makes the conversation go more quickly. And you get thrown into another conversation with lots of options that you have to talk through.
It's hard. Built
So
by
again,
this-
mouse at the bottom of the screen, go through every
Of
single
course, but
conversation.
I don't have a copy. It's a T. I'm gonna.
This throws you into a cutscene, which you're gonna skip.
Drew.
This conversation with Deirdre
What's
is
going
also a
on?
conversation
You
where
weren't
you have
answering
to
your
talk
phone.
about everything.
What's wrong?
So, mouse at the bottom of the screen and select all the options.
What?
As you can see so far,
I don't know what to-
the game is
It's-
a
okay.
lot of dialogue. A lot of the speedrun is just clicking quickly. There's some navigation. There was like the one puzzle we solved. Actually, 2 puzzles. Okay, we solved 2 puzzles. But it's mostly clicking through dialogue at this point. So, skip this cutscene, and then you just head straight downstairs for puzzle number 3.
There.
I tried. Tegan's.
It's pretty simple. You just need to memorize this puzzle. It's not
1 corn.
that tough to
One
memorize.
flour.
I think
1 spoon bacon.
we're get.
1 sugar.
I think
1 sugar.
looks right.
1 salt.
Look.
So once you've got the puzzle memorized, you can just
All right.
zoom right through it. It's not really that difficult.
That looked.
And then we have this.
Finally.
Oh,
Sure
I
thing.
should note that you notice all 3 rounds of this puzzle, you have a piece of paper that Nancy reads. You want to click outside of that piece of paper, not only to skip the dialogue, but in order to put the paper down. So it saves you a click if you're skipping dialogue and putting the paper down at the exact same time. So this puzzle, Joe, Nancy, Joe is going to randomly interrupt you sometimes.
This is going great.
Like that.
I think.
So you hope Joe doesn't interrupt you when you're about to finish the puzzle. You need to make 10 different Johnny cakes. And you'll notice the pan only holds 5 Johnny cakes
This is
at
going
once.
great.
So that means...
I think. All done.
See there?
They look super.
You can't skip the dialogue when he says, "This is going great, I think." So you can't skip that line of dialogue even if you click. So you just have to hope he doesn't talk and screw you up. Because, yeah, there, he wasted like 2 seconds because he was talking. The puzzle was finished, but he wasn't finished talking. So the game let him finish talking first. So, yeah, getting back to what I was saying. 5 pancakes, 5 Johnny cakes in the pan at once. You need to make 10, so you need to do 2 rounds perfectly. Because if you accidentally burn one or mess up on one, then you have to do a 3rd round of pancake making. That is obviously a time waster to do 3 rounds. So once you're done with that, you turn to Nancy's friends.
They're good friends.
And this is another conversation where you have to talk about everything.
we're
So
starting.
you move your mouse to the bottom of the screen and click through everything.
Sure. No,
They're
I'm sure.
explaining what's going to happen on this day of the game.
The accused. That's exactly true.
Nancy's going to explore the break-in at the courthouse, and she's going to get everybody's
something to add.
alibi. So first we're going to get May's alibi right over here. You talk to May. You select the second option. So this is a part of the game where it actually matters which conversation options you pick, because it's a time waster if you select option 1 or option number 2. Those are not things you want to talk about. You need to talk about the alibi, which is the second option, and then finish the conversation. And this is another point where you could get the recipe gone if you haven't gotten it already. So then you go into town. What you need to do is talk to Lauren first, because you talk to Lauren, which triggers a conversation with Alicia. So you have to talk to Lauren before talking to Alicia. And obviously, when you go to Alicia, you should solve the evidence room break-in at the exact same time, because you're already there. That way you don't have to take a second trip to see her. So that dictates what you're going to do, the order in which you're going to do things here on the second day of the game. First, you're going to go to Lauren. Lauren's at her shop over here.
Oh, thank you.
With this intro convo, you want to select the first option, so just move your mouse right below the dialogue bar.
You get look, T.
And then you talk to her. So here you want to talk about option number 2. I was hoping to borrow a key. Then option number 2,
I'm sure.
which is, hey, what's your alibi?
I've said,
And then the second from last option, where were you 3 nights back? And then you end the conversation. So there are 2 different conversations you want to avoid with Lauren. So it's not too difficult, but yeah, you've got 2 different conversations that you don't want to click because they're time wasters. So now that we've talked to Lauren, we're going to go inside the courthouse. We're going to talk to Alicia, who also has a lot of conversations. Here you select the second option first. And now here I recommend, what you need to do is select the first 3 options, but I recommend keeping your mouse here, sort of right here.
I was
So
at a charity
exactly
fundraiser,
level
saving
with
the
the
piping
conversation box.
Oh,
That way you go through all 3 of these conversations without having to move your mouse up and down.
Yes, I mean,
So that's good. It makes it easier. I mean, that's a lot easier than reading through the options and trying to find the correct one. And now you want to select this option. What were you doing 3 days ago?
I was at.
if you're
Alicia.
And you don't need to talk to her about any of the other things. So that's more difficult than the conversation with Lauren. With Lauren, you had to avoid 2 conversations. With Alicia, you have to avoid like 7. Okay, so here you want to take a look at the door. That way, Nancy can call her father. But you'll notice Nancy has a text message from Ned. So what you want to do is double-click the phone to skip that conversation with Ned. Just avoid texting him. That way you can call Nancy's father directly. So what you'll be doing is you just double-click to get rid of the Ned conversation, and then click a second time to start calling Nancy's father. So now you're going to go here, and we're going to get a phone call from Nancy's father. He's calling us back.
No, not today.
We go inside here. We have a conversation with the judge and Jason.
I'm sorry.
So you need to see that scene. What you're going to do now is take a look at this.
There's a number written
Nancy's
on here.
going to talk. So if she talks, you did this correctly. It's a minor skip. It's not obvious, but allows you to skip a conversation with the judge about Bitcoin, which is a funny conversation, but it's obviously faster to skip that conversation. So by calling Nancy's father first, that is before we talk to the judge, that allows us to skip that Bitcoin conversation where the judge says, hey, I'm sorry, Nancy, I can't let you explore the room without permission. Because we got permission ahead of time. Does that make sense? We get permission from Nancy's father ahead of time, skipping the Bitcoin combo. So now we go inside here. I'm gonna click these bars and the window.
No glass.
And Nancy realizes, oh, whoa, the burglary happened from inside. So now we're going to turn left. We're going to grab the evidence list.
Now-
We're going to U-turn and use it on the drawers. Drawer 7,
Interesting.
drawer 11, and then drawer 18.
Interesting. Oh,
And you're going to turn right and take a
A
look at the CCTV
break.
camera. So those are all the things you need to do inside the evidence room. You go back to the judge,
I went through the missing.
and Nancy starts the
What?
conversation
reason
about the
Carson
missing
said-
evidence. Again, skipping that conversation about Bitcoin. So here you select the second from last option twice. No, three times. So
What?
1,
Court.
2,
I'm just.
I know. I was at Salem.
3,
Yeah,
and then we're going to end the
I'll come-
conversation. Now we exit the courthouse. And we're going to get Jason's alibi. It's a pretty simple conversation. We have to talk to him about everything. So talk to him about everything. So I did there. I just selected the second from last conversation topic and clicked on that over and over and over again. And then I finished the conversation when the conversation was over. So now we go to the museum. We need to get alibis from Tegan and Olivia. So forward and left to talk to Tegan. Again, we select the second from last option twice. We want to talk about both of these options, but not the first one. So
May was help.
I just
She's
say, hey,
barely-
second from
I-
last
yeah,
conversation
I
option
mean,
twice. That
I'm-
way I don't have to move
really?
my mouse very much.
It's like there's these.
And I
No,
just end the
there's a
conversation. So, we need to talk to her boyfriend to confirm her alibi. Let me show the click, because Nancy's part of a text message here. So 1, 2, 3. That's how you do it. It's the exact same thing we did with Nancy's father. It lets you avoid that text message conversation. It saves you a little bit of time. So,
Hi.
call her boyfriend.
Yeah, but I listen, honestly.
Just zoom through that conversation. Then we go to Olivia over here.
You're back.
So Olivia is more tricky because you want to talk to her about the first thing and the second to last thing, but not the second thing about the ghosts in Salem. So I recommend doing the first one, second from last one, and then the last one. It can be kind of tricky. I've screwed up that conversation before. It's not the easiest. So now we're going to go to the Hathorne house using the key we got from Alicia. So on the second day of the game, you're supposed to do 2 things. Actually 3 things. Get everybody's alibi, do the evidence room stuff, and examine the Hathorne house. Since the Hathorne house is so far away from everything else, I save it for last, because it would take a long time to go all the way to the house and back to everybody else for alibis, right? So it's faster to save this one for last. Here, I recommend using the key on the door. Then Nancy realizes, hey, you can't get inside. You don't have to do that right now, but I recommend it anyway. Go forward twice here, grab the crowbar, then go back and use the crowbar on the door.
Now
This is a cutscene. Yes, a cutscene just for a crowbar. Now use the key on the lock and escape. Not escape, you go in through the door. Okay, here you take a left.
a brand new
Grab
jacket.
the jacket. You're gonna look at the jacket. Open it for a business card. You're gonna U-turn. You're gonna go forward, U-turn.
There's
Click on the mirror. Specifically,
painted
click on the laurels. Then you U-turn, and then click on this desk. Now you can click on that area where the laurels were, getting you Francis Tuttle's will.
a letter written in Francis Tuttle's.
And then you get a phone call from Tegan.
Tegan, I was able to rule out some.
So after this phone call, you're automatically sent back to the Perry house with the cutscene. You turn right and you talk to Tegan.
When I started work, Samuel,
And
the
you
head
just skip
of,
through this
I don't know.
conversation. This is your final chance to grab that rust be gone if you haven't gotten it already. And then you just head over here. The game will
Hey,
switch to the Hardy Boys. So as you saw, the game warps you from your last location to the house. That's why I finished with the Hathorne house, the farthest
Nancy,
away location, because I
missed-
knew,
No,
hey, as
turns
soon as
out
I finish exploring it, I'm just
I
going to
get
be
it.
warped
I mean,
to new
sure,
location.
and steady.
All set.
So,
Of course.
long conversation between the Hardys. What we want to do is solve this puzzle. This generally takes me, I don't know, about a minute and a half. That's what I budget for this. It's random. It's completely random. So that's why this is like a speedrun killer. It comes, what, about 14 minutes into
Found
a
a new cold
speedrun?
spot.
On it.
So my best time for this has been a minute and 4 seconds. Like, I don't know, a minute and 15 seconds is probably reasonable. Oh, come on.
I've adjusted.
Yeah, so this is just all, it's all just you need to be lucky and get good patterns. I think if somebody's super serious about speedrunning, or if they wanted to speedrun this on Master Sleuth mode, what you would have to do is save the game here before every single one of these things. So save it and then just reload and solve it over and over and over again until you get a pattern which is really, really good for you. Like, this pattern is not working for me this time. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So, once you get all three of them, you skip this cutscene. You're going to go into the woods.
Of course.
So the solution for the woods changes whether you're in amateur sleuth mode or a master sleuth mode. The pumpkin's in the same place. But here in amateur sleuth mode, you're going to go first. You're going to go one forward, then left, and then just go left all the way over here, and then look at the ropes. The ropes and the pumpkin are going to be in the same spot every single time. So now I'm just going to go forward over here to this pan.
Like instant.
And then over here
Looky here.
to
There's.
the fog machine. And then over here to the pumpkin.
Check it. Of course. Look. Oh, there's. Oh.
Now we take a right and exit the woods. You just go straight forward, and there's going to be a minor cutscene here. Skip the cutscene, you look at her desk,
Hey,
you grab the list of mysterious symbols, turn it around,
there's a gravestone.
I don't.
close that. Then you're gonna go to the graveyard. Just 2 forward, 1 right, 1 forward, 1 right. Look at this grave, and we've got a box underneath. So this is the
A
decryption
decryption device
puzzle.
of some sort.
So you want to line up the H with the O, and then the O with this thing, and you go to select letters. This puzzle, you just have to memorize. You just have to memorize this puzzle solution. Not that difficult, it's just kind of long sometimes. So once you do restocked lawns, you're going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you move it counterclockwise 6 steps. Next is grocery shopping. Too bad there's no glitch to skip this particular puzzle. I don't know, maybe someone will discover more glitches for this game someday. So here again, 6 counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gonna do inventory, just do it. Different from the others. It's going to be cat maintenance. And 1 counterclockwise. Get stock from L.
I've cracked it.
You click through those 2 conversation options and then skip the cutscene. So, sorry, you skip those
There's-
2 lines of dialogue and then skip the cutscene. This is going to be a conversation where you want to have your mouse here at the bottom because you've got 3 options to pick.
Wait. Oh,
It's.
oh, what?
2,
Get over your.
Hey,
Yeah, she's in her room.
Olivia.
No.
and then
Did you
number
try-
3. So now at this point it splits up. You want to select option 1 or option number 2. Those are both the same. They're slightly faster than option number 3.
Look, Tegan.
So that conversation, you're going to have your mouse at the bottom of the screen. You're going to select the bottom option 3 times and then immediately move upwards to select one of the upper 2 conversation options. So now you turn left and then we go downstairs. We're going to talk to Deirdre.
Nancy!
Hey.
This is going to be another long conversation where it doesn't matter which option you pick because you have to talk.
Well, I don't.
You have to talk about all of them.
There's.
I had an
I don't know. No. Not
So
a.
Nancy's
we
going to get her mission for the day,
Olivia has-
which is to check out the
I'll start with
CCTV
it.
camera,
No.
and she's also going to check out what's up with this ergot poisoning. So we're going to go into town. And the first thing we're going to do is go to the judge's office. Talk to the judge. Oh, we have a lot of conversations here.
If you look
Deirdre
there,
talks
are
to
you?
Nancy for a while. So then we go to the judge. We talk to the judge. We're going to
Can I
select
help?
the second option. I mean,
You know.
the only option,
And I'm
but
getting-
you have to do it twice. So you select the bottom option twice. Deirdre's angrily waving her arms around. Okay, you leave the office and then Deirdre's going to
Tell
talk
me,
to you.
Oh, you? Yeah. You. Oh, I think you.
And then Nancy's dad is going to call to talk to you. So you
Not
skip
well.
through that conversation
Thanks.
too by selecting the bottom option. So now we're gonna go to Alicia's office. We're gonna look at her desk.
A demolition.
We have a demolition offer. That's unimportant. You just pick it up and throw it away. This is the important
This
thing.
looks like
It's
the
a
request.
map. So we're going to go over here to the office. I mean the evidence room. Use the map on the wall.
Let's see here.
Want to rotate it and then get it into place here in the upper right-hand area.
The Hathorne house. I need to know what's at.
Okay, and then you want to use your USB stick
Well, I think
on the computer for the CCTV puzzle.
bad.
As I explained at the beginning of this video, I set up the glitch so I don't actually have to solve that puzzle. So that's a time saver. And now we're just gonna leave. Now we need to get the, we need to hear what the Hardy Boys and what Olivia had to drink yesterday. So the game makes you think you're supposed to ask what they ate and what they drank. All you have to do is ask what they drank though. So that's a time saver. You don't ask what they ate and you don't talk about ergot. You just say, hey Olivia, what did you drink? So that's the
It
second to
was
last option.
Lawrence?
And that's it. Stop. You just stop the conversation there. And now for the Hardy Boys, we have to do the same thing with them. Oh yes, and Ned calls. So we're gonna skip through this conversation with Ned because we
I-
don't need to hear from
You
him.
know, I don't want.
This is taking. It's go in.
And here we select the
Let's back-
second
Yeah.
option and end the conversation. And we're gonna go to the Hathorne house. We're gonna check out that spot which was on the map. So that's why I did the map first. That's why I did the courthouse first. Is because it unlocks this thingy here. So you have to go to this spot, turn left, click on the bush,
Someone.
click on the bush again to open it. Use your rest begone on here. Then click on it to turn it. You grab the ergot spore,
These
and then you
spots.
back away.
It's. What are you?
And that starts a
Oh,
conversation
run-
with
yeah.
Lauren. And this should bring an end to the third day of the game.
Tegan.
So this automatically happens once you, you know, talk to everybody about what they drank. you do the CCTV puzzle, and you find the ergot spore. Okay, so we're gonna go forward and left here. We're gonna talk to Tegan.
Before she disappeared.
So you need to select both options. It doesn't matter which order you pick them in, because you have to talk about them. Actually, and then here...
I was looking for the... I can't.
Anyway, this is... I'll just skip through this conversation and then skip the cutscene and then explain what happened. Okay, so with that conversation, the first two options, you have to talk about them both. And then the next set of two options, you can select either one. They're the exact same length because Tegan's going to interrupt. So it's another conversation where you want to select the bottom option over and over and over again. But I thought it would be useful to point out that slight difference between the two versions. So here you want to look at May's phone. You don't actually have to look at it. You just need to pick it up and then leave. You're going to go talk to Jason.
Hey.
And conversation, just skip through whatever he's saying. Now you're going to turn left and look at his glove compartment.
I have to go.
As
You're
soon
going
as
to
the game
keep me-
finishes
wait.
loading. Okay, turn left, glove compartment,
Bingo.
close that. This is another conversation where you have to talk to him about
You-
everything, so select the bottom option
Alicia-
every single time. And then Nancy is
In the top-
going to call Deirdre and the Hardy Boys. It's kind of nice when the phone is ringing because that gives you a little bit of a break in between just clicking like a maniac.
This.
Okay, we get a little break while this loads, and then we click, 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 and turn around. Go to Olivia. You don't need to talk to Olivia. All you have to do is step forward and click on the lantern.
Hey!
Then you turn around and leave. Go back to the statue. Turn right. Use the lantern on the statue. Deirdre's gonna call. We're gonna skip through this conversation with Deirdre.
Wait, they are in the car. Well, I can't.
And we're just going to go forward here. We're gonna go through this hidden passageway. I've got the instructions written down here on a piece of paper, but they're not too difficult. You could probably memorize it if you had to. Forward, left, and left.
This seems right.
Nancy talks. Right, forward, forward, left.
We're on track.
Then right, forward, right, left, right.
Getting closer.
Nancy talks, you go forward, and we're gonna switch to the Hardy Boys, so let's skip through this conversation.
Hey, Joe! Yep.
So here we go. Left, right, forward, 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 right, forward, forward.
Joe.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah, I know.
Then you're gonna U-turn. You go left, and then forward to the exit. So this conversation, want to select
I'll
the
let you take
second
this
option. It's like
Who's behind the
two
door?
things
You have
faster
5
than the first one. And then you're gonna do this puzzle. So you want to move the things in this option. This order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
This has to...
Yep. And then you're going to use the
Come on.
icosahedron on the door. So that puzzle's the same on both Amateur Sleuth and Master Sleuth modes. It doesn't matter which gameplay mode you're doing. You want to skip this cutscene and then start this puzzle. Again, a puzzle that's the same on both gameplay modes. Most of the puzzles are the same on both modes. So Yule and Litha.
They move.
Then you click a few times to skip the conversation. You select this one and this one. Click a few times to skip the conversation. This one and this one. Click a few times to skip the conversation. And then left and right.
We did it! Good.
Yes.
Click to skip the conversation, and you can use the escape button to skip that cutscene.
How?
Here you take a
Something
look
moved.
at
This
the,
is so exciting.
the chimney. You move this aside, and that opens up the will. So it's not too complicated. You just have to do a few things in relatively quick order. We skipped this cutscene, we U-turn and solve the puzzle.
This it.
This is another puzzle where the solution changes every single... Not the solution, but the layout of the triangles seems to change every single time you play the game. So, like, for example, the last time I played the game, this piece went in the upper left-hand corner. Nope, clearly not the case here. So what I had to do was just write out a solution and, you know, figure it out every single time, because the location of these things is random, and that's unfortunate. Here on Amateur Sleuth mode, there are only a few pieces with triangles, though, with triangle edges, so that makes it slightly easier to locate the triangle edge pieces. And there are a few pieces with circular edges, so it's relatively simple to find where those pieces are. There's another one with a circular edge. Does it go here? Yes, it does. And then the final circular edge is here. And then upper left corner is going to have it's going to have a circular hole in it. Okay, so here's where things get more tricky. Here's the piece with all the holes. Let's see. Oh yeah, so here's why it's tricky. See these two pieces? They're the exact same. So that can throw you off because it's like, oh, you grab the right piece, but the one for the wrong spot, something like that. So these two pieces are the same as well. That one and that one. So yeah, you know, if you got those two pieces memorized, that helps a lot. Okay, and then generally when you get to a place like this where you've got 3 or so pieces left, you can figure out which ones they are without even needing to double check your chart of where the pieces go. So now you skip this cutscene, and then we're gonna skip another cutscene. We're going to skip some dialogue and then run forward through this phase. So you go forward 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go left, right, left.
Keep moving.
Right. Now we go left, and then we go forward to this room. We're going to skip the cutscene. This conversation with May, you want to select the second option 3 times in a row to end the conversation. Because if you select the first option, it kind of goes into this long conversation about her sister. So it's obviously faster to skip that. So you want to turn right. You want to take a look at the candle. Then you talk to May again.
What?
You ask if she has a lighter. That's the second option. And then you end the conversation. Here you want to use your lighter on both candles. And then on this lantern.
Still works.
So you grab the note, you grab this paper, you click on AW, and you click on the board in order to get a lockpick. You U-turn, use the note on the candle, turn left, use your lockpick here.
I know that.
This starts a conversation with May. You want to select the second option where Nancy's like, hey, just stop talking, okay? I'm just going to keep moving. If you select the first option, Nancy will try to talk to her and comfort her. So, after that, you're going to use the lockpick on that particular brick. Skip that cutscene. You're going to grab that piece here, and then you want to take a look at this this thing here. You don't actually need to click on it to look at it. You just want to use both feathers on it. And then you click to look at it. Nancy says, hey, you need to dust it off. So dust it off. With this puzzle, it's the same on both Amateur Sleuth and Master Sleuth modes. So you're going to move the outermost thing up all the way. This one, you're going to move it up twice, and the inner one up all the way. Skip this cutscene. Use the key. Click that line of dialogue. Skip that cutscene. You're going to skip another cutscene right here.
Nancy!
Then we have this long conversation with the judge.
Your Honor.
So with this, it's another conversation where you need to talk about all 3 things. So just move your mouse at the bottom of the screen and just click away.
You can.
If the car.
So the puzzles that are different on Amateur Sleuth mode and Master Sleuth mode is the wavelength puzzle, the drawers puzzle, and finding those various things inside the forest after the wavelength puzzle. Okay, so now you skip the cutscene. So here we're gonna have 2 conversation trees. you want to select the last option both times. So you say,
I
I want
believe
Francis
the-
Tuttle's will.
because I have a
That is
confession
slightly shorter.
from the
That's slightly
person who
shorter than
did.
the other two
Really?
options. And then here you want to select Tegan set the fire on purpose.
And I believe.
Well, if it,
That way,
There-
Tegan gets
It's true.
arrested,
You
and
made
Tegan
this
will
poor
not
girl
be
look,
at the
you know,
party at
But
the
my
end of the game.
A judge
That way
is-
you don't have to talk to her at the end of the game. That's a time saver, because you don't talk to her. She's not there.
We always.
Okay, you go forward here, and you skip through this conversation. And you just talk to everybody about everything. So you talk to Deirdre,
Uh-huh.
talk to May. May doesn't really want to talk to you because she's mad you got her sister arrested.
Hey,
Talk to Frank.
I
Talk
can't.
to Lauren
You
and
have
Olivia.
There's always.
And then you just leave. You leave, and then you hit the escape button again to skip the final cutscene. So that's it. That's how you speedrun Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem. I did it slowly, obviously. I explained everything I did in some detail. But if you do everything perfectly, if you're great with solving puzzles quickly, and if you're great with navigation, you can beat the game in under 30 minutes. Under 29 minutes should be possible. I wonder if under 28 minutes is possible. That would have to require an awful lot of luck when it comes to the drawers puzzle and the wavelength puzzle, because those are the two puzzles which are random, so you'd have to get really lucky on those. Or somebody would have to figure out another way to glitch the game. Because, I was able to glitch out of that conversation, that phone conversation with Deirdre at the start of the game. What if there's another glitch like that? What if there's another phone call that I can skip? Or maybe even another puzzle? Who knows? And the trivia question. You don't have to answer the trivia question. It doesn't count as part of the speedrun. But it looks cool when you get the trivia question answered correctly anyway. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed seeing my tricks. Good luck speedrunning, everyone. Go out there, break some records. Break my records. Because I'm slow at speedrunning. I'm just an old guy who's very slow at navigation and clicking quickly through games. So, you want to beat my records? Feel free. That's great. That's fine by me.